All right, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up, Phil?
Hey, first, before we get started into this short episode, rest in peace to Pedro Gomez. I don't know if you heard, a long-time ESPN baseball reporter. He passed away at the age of 58. I'm not too sure what the causes were, unless you heard, but
No,
man,
I actually didn't hear that.
yeah. So rest in peace to him. Still very young, 58. So
Yeah,
hey, welcome back, guys. A night after Super Bowl 55, and we promise maybe next year, maybe our annual Super Bowl preview will be a lot better. Um, we about did everything right, Ryan, except we predicted the wrong team, and boy, did we get it wrong. And of course, we're not the only ones. Let's just put it that way. So at least we weren't the only ones.
right.
I know the majority of the world had Kansas City, so the majority of the world was behind our back. We wish we would have picked Tampa Bay. It would have looked well on our part, but hey, that's life. We'll probably get more wrong than we will right going down the line on this show. Ryan, defense can still win championship games, huh? I know you told me you were very upset, so let me hear you.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about it on our preview episode. I said that this Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense is more important than their offense, and it showed again last night in the Super Bowl. And Tom Brady winning MVP, I just didn't really understand that. I mean, I'm not just saying that because he has 7 Super Bowl wins now, and now he has 5 Super Bowl MVPs. I'm not saying he has too many. I'm just saying that somebody on the defense should have won this MVP award. Tom Brady, I mean, Tom Brady still had a good game. I mean, look at his stats. He had 201 yards, 3 touchdowns. He went 21 for 29. So he had a good game. But Tampa Bay's defense won them this game. It wasn't, I mean, Tom Brady had some part to do with it. He made good throws when he had to. He did just enough to win the game, but
Who's the
I mean,
defensive coordinator for? Who's the defensive coordinator
Todd
for for
Bowles, they used to
for
coach
for, for Tampa Bay?
uh,
Todd Bowles,
no, Spagnuolo.
the defensive coordinator for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Todd Bowles.
Todd Bowles. If I was giving, look, Ryan, Tom Brady is the MVP of this game. If I was giving, look, yes, if I was giving, look, just listen for a second. If I was giving the defensive or the MVP, how are you going to, if it's an individual award, how are you going to pull out the pieces of the puzzle and give it to, because the defense came together in this Super Bowl. There's not much else to say. They came together and they were licking their chops, waiting for Patrick Mahomes. That's it. But how are you, I mean, I see as a team, as a defense, they came together and they beat and Patrick Mahomes and company. But if I was going to get if the MVP could go to a coach, I would give it to Todd Bowles, the defensive coordinator. But I don't know. But who are you going? Yeah, but who are you going? Listen to me. Now, hear me out though. Who are you going to give it to on defense? What player?
I personally would have either gave it to Shaquille Barrett or Levante David because Levante David completely shut down Travis Kelce, and you saw throughout the game. That's why if you could give it to a coach, give it to Todd Bowles. His game plan for this game was the one of the best defensive game plans I've ever seen. They completely shut down the Kansas City Chiefs. They double teamed Tyreek Hill. They double teamed Travis Kelce, and they only allowed Kelce to get a 6-yard reception here and there. And it just simply wasn't enough for Kansas City. Kansas City kicked 3 field goals. You can't win the Super Bowl by kicking field goals. And Shaquille Barrett had Patrick Mahomes running around all over the field. This Tampa Bay Buccaneers pass rush made Mahomes run almost 500 yards trying to escape the Buccaneers pass rushers. That's the most by a quarterback in a game all season long. So it's either Shaquille Barrett or Levante David for me. But honestly, it should have went to Todd Bowles.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know. I don't know if it's possible for a coach to win the award or not. But what I'm
I don't
saying
think
to
it
you
is, but
no. But what I'm saying to you is, look, I think it's the first time ever, and we're talking about a lot of first times ever with Tom Brady. The only person we can compare to Tom Brady is Tom Brady. But what I'm trying to tell you is, I think this is the first quarterback ever I saw that went through. Of course, he went through Washington in the wild card round, and we'll get to that in a second. But what I'm trying to tell you is this: I think it's the first time ever. Ryan, he went through Drew Brees. He's a Super Bowl MVP. He went through Aaron Rodgers.
Drew Brees played the worst game of his career and threw 2 or 3 interceptions.
Is it because his defense was heating up at the right time?
Yeah, I mean the defense. I wouldn't say.
And I'm shocked. I'm shocked because we talk so many times about, we know sports in and out. The guys we see on TV, that everyone leading up to this game, if you know the game so well, if you know sports so well, you're going to pick Tampa Bay. But it's the little pieces of the puzzle, the little pieces that come out, and you're kicking yourself for it. I'm kicking myself. You're kicking yourself. It comes out at the end of the game. How Kansas City, how the Cleveland Browns kept it close up there in Missouri at Arrowhead Stadium. We should have saw it. We should have saw it coming. The way after the second half of the season.
And they didn't have Mahomes for half the game though against the Browns. To be fair,
yeah. Right. But and then how about after the second half of the season, how Tampa Bay heated up? We should have saw it coming. And I know people are going to watch this and say, "Oh, they're trying to sugarcoat it." No, man, we're here to talk it out, and we're here to tell you, it's disappointing picking the wrong team, but to learn the experience and to learn from this, man. I told you earlier today that I think that for our annual preview, whoever makes it next year, and I'm telling you now, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers making the Super Bowl next year.
Yeah, expect them to make another run at it. They're not going anywhere. But neither of these teams are going anywhere.
That's it. Well, I don't know, Ryan. I could stand the argument that the Kansas City Chiefs might miss the Super Bowl next year. That's up to you. If you want to pick these two teams again in it, that's up to you. But I tell you, I think next year I'm going to analyze the defense, no matter who makes it for AFC and NFC when it comes down to it. Because, again, I told you earlier in an episode we had, this house is full of defensive pictures everywhere. This house, and I'm a defensive kind of guy. I've always have, always will be. This goes to show I'm so sick all the time of hearing about this quarterback, that quarterback, the wide receivers. If a team signs a defensive back, a linebacker, do they get the articles? Do they get the press attention that they deserve? No. It's offense all the time. Offense. So guess what? In a way, kind of glad. I'm smiling in the back of my mind. Tampa Bay won this game. Darn right. Because they showed up on defense. They're still proving in the year 2021, defense can win championships. Overall, I still think no matter what kind of team you have on offense, if you step up on defense, you're coming out on top.
Yeah, and not to take anything away from Tampa Bay, they played an amazing game all the way around, but especially early in the game for Kansas City, they honestly beat themselves. I mean, there were so many penalties that Kansas City committed. The Kansas City stopped the Bucs at one point, and they held them to a field goal. Kansas City lines up offsides, and the next play, the Bucs score a touchdown to go up 14-3. That's a huge difference, especially in the Super Bowl. And in the same drive, Kansas City forced Tampa Bay to a third down. But it's just silly mistakes like unsportsmanlike conduct on Chris Jones, I believe it was. And it's just silly mistakes like that you don't expect to see out of a Super Bowl team like Kansas City. These type of mental mistakes that Kansas City made set up Tom Brady and the Buccaneers offense with too many opportunities.
No, but I've said it before, and I'll say it again. When you're facing a guy like Tom Brady, he's going to get in your head. I know it's easier said than done, but to keep your poise in a game is important like this. And that's why you saw the little trash talk between Tyrann Mathieu and Tom Brady. People, look, that's football. If you don't like it, what else I have to I would advise people to turn the TV off if they don't like seeing that. I love seeing that kind of stuff. It adds attention to the game, It adds the fire to the game, man. Go ahead and trash talk as long as it does not get physical.
Right.
Hey, That's what mouth it off, man. That's what you're there for, man. Mouth it off.
Yeah.
So look, Mahomes was pressured 29 times compared to Brady's 4, somewhere around that. And I don't want to blame the Kansas City offense or the offensive line, Ryan, but look, Tampa Bay's defensive line, and listen to this, and I'll let you talk. Tampa Bay's defensive line, which consists of I'm not naming everybody on starting defense, but some of the big names: Ndamukong Suh, Vita Vea, Khalil Davis. It's like and I feel guilty. It's like we did not pay attention to these guys at all this whole season. Vita Vea, you have Khalil Davis, Quentin Bell, Deion Buchanan, Jason Pierre-Paul, and Devin White. What did I do before we come on? I said, you know what? The total years of 40. I added up since they got drafted. I added up those, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 players. I added their total years of experience up, and just them, what I count, just 8? 5, 6, 7, 8, yes. And just them 8 players totaled 44 years of experience. That's a lot.
Yeah.
44 years, and that's not all the defense. So 8 players, a total of 44 years of experience. This team is just like any other fairy tale team. They did not add the big names during the offseason or during the off seasons leading up to this title, but they added names that contributed enough to when it mattered the most.
Yeah, I mean, well, they only added Tom Brady, and that was obviously enough to get the deal done. I mean,
but what I'm saying is Ndamukong Suh, some of these guys played elsewhere before they got here.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and I mean, for this Tampa Bay defense especially, and some guys on their offense like Mike Evans and Shaquille Barrett, Levante David, these guys, we didn't really talk about them before Tom Brady got there. They were so underrated in this league, and they're all really good and great players. And we saw that throughout this whole playoff run, and we really saw it after week 12 when Kansas City comes into Tampa Bay and goes up 17-0. Tampa Bay ultimately loses by 3. But after that, the Buccaneers didn't look back. They didn't lose a game the whole entire season and won the Super Bowl. So when Kansas City went into Tampa Bay in week 12, they lit a fire under this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers waited all season long after that moment. And they waited until last night to prove to Kansas City that Tampa Bay was the best team in the NFL.
Yeah. And that's why I keep saying I'm surprised Aaron Rodgers on the outside looking in. When Aaron Rodgers last played these Buccaneers, Aaron Rodgers got blown out by him, right? Or no, hold on. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So that's what I was saying. Learning experience. I thought, of course, it's some coaching controversy in that game, the NFC title game. But anyhow, that's why I thought this Green Bay Packers team would have learned from the first time. Now you see.
And be motivated.
That's right. Brady learned from when he saw Kansas City. This Green Bay Packers, I ain't going to say Aaron Rodgers didn't learn. He's not all part of that loss. The Green Bay Packers organization, the coaches, the players, you got to take a step back, man. They made a big bump in the road, man. And I tell you, I still, congratulations to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the coaches, the fans, their players, and I'm sure you wish them the same thing. But in a way, you just feel like, it's just a couple coaching calls, man. And it seemed like it could have been easily the Chiefs and the Packers in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, for the Packers defense in that game, it's just like the big mess up before halftime when they let Tom Brady throw that 50-yard pass or whatever it was to wide receiver Scotty Miller. And that really just gave the Buccaneers all the momentum. And the Tom Brady threw his 3 interceptions in that game. I don't know how many times I've said that. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got them to the Super Bowl, and they won them the Super Bowl. So it's just the Tampa Bay Buccaneers learned so much from that Kansas City loss that they took in Week 12. Every single player on that defense and Coach Todd Bowles, they all learned from that game. And they studied the film probably every single week. They probably studied it every single day leading up to the Super Bowl, and they just came prepared for this Kansas City team and made Patrick Mahomes have the worst game of his whole entire NFL career.
So no, it's still getting under my skin, Ryan. You're lighting a fire when you tell me Brady is not the MVP. Let's go over this real quick. In the wild card round, he beat Washington 31-23, right? Brady had 20, he was 22 for 40, 381, 2 touchdowns. Divisional round, it was 30-20 over the Saints. Brady, 18 for 33, 199, and 2 touchdowns. And then the NFC title games, 31-26. That was the closest team. The Green Bay Packers are the closest team to eliminate them in the postseason. And they beat Green Bay 31-26. And then Brady was 20 for 36, 280, 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. Ryan, though, you have to look. It's something about the number 31, too, because the Buccaneers scored 31 points in each of their playoff games except for one, and that was 30 points. So it was 31-30, 31-30. I thought it was pretty interesting. And then the Super Bowl, yeah, 31-39, 21 for 29, 201. And remember all week, Ryan, we kept talking about Brady throwing interceptions. He's got to stop. He stopped it. He knew he had to stop throwing interceptions because look at the guy that was on the other side of the field. Of course, he didn't know his defense was going to show up like this, but it was Patrick Mahomes. Guess what? Brady, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks.
Yeah, I mean, he stepped up big. He did what he had to do. But, I mean, when you hold the number 1 offense in the league to 9 points in the Super Bowl and hold them to 3 field goals, that's saying something about your defense and Todd Bowles, the game plan that they drew up. And Tom Brady throws 3 interceptions in the game before, and he knows that he can't do that in the Super Bowl. He has way too much experience. That was his 10th Super Bowl. So he obviously knows by now that you can't throw interceptions in the Super Bowl. You're not going to win, and you have to score touchdowns. Tampa Bay scores 4 touchdowns. Kansas City scores no touchdowns. If you would have told me that Kansas City isn't going to score a single touchdown in the Super Bowl, I don't think anybody would have believed you. 3 field goals in the Super Bowl for the number 1 offense? It's unbelievable.
But let me ask you this. Is 31 points enough to win a football game? If just say Patrick Mahomes was on his A game, this offense was on their A game, would have 31 points been enough to beat this Kansas City team? I don't know. So,
I mean,
you sit back and ask yourself, I think so. I think so. So Tom Brady is the MVP. He picked apart the Kansas City defense. You got to remember, Ryan, so many times they're talking about Brady beat Mahomes. Brady beat Mahomes. It's not literally Mahomes on the field at the same time as Brady. It's a quarterback against a defense. So when you're actually matching these two any game, you're matching up. You keep talking about each quarterback. Evidently, it's can the quarterback pick apart this defense? What's the other quarterback on the other sideline have to do with anything? You're evaluating a quarterback and a defense.
Yeah, and like I said before, though, this Kansas City defense made so many pass interference and holding mistakes. Now, some, it's 50-50. It's a bang-bang play. Should have not been called. It doesn't really matter now. It's already in the history books. But they just set this Tampa Bay offense up so many times. They got stops, but they committed penalties, pass interference and holding penalties. I believe in the first quarter, they had 7 penalties for 100 yards. And you just can't make that many mistakes.
No, you
on
can't.
Defense
Well, I do. Yeah,
against
I
Tom
agree
Brady.
with that. Yeah, I agree. But and that's even more proof that Patrick Mahomes had to be on his A game on a night where the defense was struggling terribly, and he was not. Look, make no mistake though, I think Mahomes will be back stronger than ever. I think that if you're a Chiefs fan, it's definitely not time to panic.
No.
I mean, this team, they have to get better on defense. They have to get better on the offensive line. That is, and you have yourself set up maybe for a possibly another Super Bowl appearance next year.
Yeah, and I mean they did have three starting offensive linemen out, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire for the Kansas City Chiefs. It was his rookie year. I think he's a very good running back, but the Kansas City offense had no rushing game in the Super Bowl. And when they did run the ball, I thought they picked up a good amount of yards, but they just fell so far behind that they couldn't run the ball. They had to pass, and the Buccaneers completely shut down Kansas City's two best weapons, and Hill and Kelsey, and Kansas City just couldn't do anything. But yeah, I agree. I mean, Patrick Mahomes loses his first game by
His
double
worst
digits.
performance since college. So what he did, he showed us basically something, one of the best performances in NFL history, that streak from the since he got on the field, drafted as up to now. So we have to appreciate what Tom Brady did, and we have to appreciate the streak that Mahomes went on. That was great. That was amazing. Moving up in the draft and getting him at what, 10, I believe. And look, they gave Kansas City, he gave Kansas City a great ride, man. And I don't think it's not time to panic in that city.
No, certainly not. This team's going to be back. And Mahomes said after the game, you know, every team in the NFL is probably going to study what the Buccaneers did on defense. Everybody's going to study Todd Bowles' game plan to try to get an edge on Patrick Mahomes. So Mahomes has to, you know, be better, even better, and learn how to beat or get around what the Buccaneers did in the Super Bowl to try to, you know, just defeat that defense and find a way to overcome that obstacle in his career.
Well, again, considering no team, no OTAs, no practice, we have to again appreciate what we're witnessing. I doubt we'll ever see it again, and that's Tom Brady. So I think that you don't think he deserves it. I think he very well deserves the MVP award. I mean, look what he did. He went to a new team, hardly any practice and anything, and I mean, you take into account some of the close ball games. I think it's interesting. I looked at each stat. I went to each game, and they did not have a single rushing performance by any player in the postseason. The Buccaneers, that is, from any player. They never had a single rusher over 100 yards in the playoffs. We always talk about a great rushing. We always talk about a great rushing game, great defense. They had a great defense, no doubt. So if you're not going to have a rusher, a Derrick Henry, an old, who's your guy? Your old running back, Emmitt Smith.
Yeah, Emmitt Smith.
If you're not going to have a punishing running back, which you don't need, I just said that you don't need it with Kansas City, which they might have needed it last night, but you don't really need that when you have Tom Brady, man. Leonard Fournette, he went off. But again, not a single player in the playoffs for Tampa Bay went over 100 rushing yards.
Yeah, and I think
Tom Brady bailed them out every single time they needed bailed out. That's the way I look at it. That's why they got to the Super Bowl, and that's why they won the game.
Yeah, but last night in the Super Bowl, Leonard Fournette, 16 carries, 89 yards. And on the receiving end, he has 4 receptions for 46 yards. And Ronald Jones, 12 attempts, 61 rushing yards. So both of these backs combined for 100 rushing yards. So this rushing game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they picked Fournette up. That's another guy they got in the offseason. They picked him up during the offseason.
I think he was unemployed in September, yeah.
Yeah, they picked him up after the Jags released him. And he used to be a good back with Jacksonville. And all these guys are coming to play with Tom Brady because they know that Tom Brady is going to get to the postseason and he's going to lead the team to the Super Bowl. And just for this Bucs team, they have a good rushing attack, and both of these backs can get to 100-yard games, but they switch them out every once in a while. And both of these backs on the receiving and the rushing end can easily combine for 100 or 200 yards together.
There's no words in the dictionary to really put together, for this guy, who I'm talking about. I mean, it's, I heard somebody yesterday, and somebody I know, they said, what we start the league should start doing is just ship Tom Brady around to every single football team and see, if Dallas wants to win a Super Bowl, let's send him to Dallas next year. If Baltimore wants to win a Super Bowl, let's send him to Baltimore. If the Houston Texans want to win a Super Bowl, let's send Tom Brady to Houston. I mean, it's unbelievable. Hey, I'll leave it at that, Ryan. I'll see you tomorrow night, I guess, for some NBA talk.
All right, I'll see you later.